Carmen, I would like to start asking about those young defensive tackles, specifically Munford and Leatherwood. Can you tell us what you're seeing, and has there been any emergence after looking at the tape?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see, like anything, I just had a meeting with them. You'll see good, bad, and the ugly, like an old Clint Eastwood movie. They're improving. They're working on their craft. I think the position, especially at tackle, as challenging it is in this league, it's got to be constant improvement. We can't ever get satisfied. You look at a guy like Colton Miller, who has been fifth year here, talented guy, and he is out there early, one of the first ones, stays late to work on his craft. So I mean, but Thayer and Alex are doing their part, and they're looking to improve every day.
Coach, we talked to some other offensive linemen in the locker room after the game last week, and they were kind of complimenting Thayer for how much he's grown since OTAs. I know you said obviously everybody's growing, but where have you seen him improve specifically as a rookie?
I think he, Dylan, and Bam, I mean, the rookies that we have in this class, I think that's a tribute, number one, to them individually, for sure. But I think Coach has done a great job of instituting a support structure for them. You guys, the things you don't see, of the rookies staying well through June to work on whether they're studying tape, whether they're working with the strength staff, whether they're working with our support staff, mental health. It's truly a good program that we have here that was already in place, and I think Coach McDaniels has instituted some things to help those rookies just kind of navigate the rigors of their first NFL season. So Thayer, like Dylan, like Bam, have all done well.
Offensive lines can take different forms depending on the team, depending on the situation. You inherited an offensive line where you had a stalwart over at left tackle, but a lot of young players to the right side of him. How has that challenged what you're doing and made this process challenging for you?
Yeah, I think every season is unique out of its own. Whether it's, you have a mix of veterans, you're always going to have a mix of players. I mean, the length of the season, a lot of players are going to play. Looking at this group at this point, I think it's as you said. I mean, it is unique. It is a challenge. They bring some youthful exuberance, and we had talked before about these guys really working hard. And sometimes you get a veteran group, they kind of may have a governor that you sometimes are pushing them a little extra. I really enjoy working with this group because of how hard they work and how eager they are to improve.
You are challenging them a lot. We see guys playing a lot of different positions, even in games. How have they responded, would you say, to that?
Great. I mean, truly, this is a group that celebrates one another. They have fun with one another. They're aware that there's competition within the room. That's the reality of our sport, of our business. But at the same time, they just help push one another, and whoever's in, it's next man mentality.
Yeah, I did see Thayer leave practice day. Is that any kind of an update?
Yeah, I don't even know what happened there. They'll update Josh, and then he'll update me.
I know for your players, they're all learning a new offense, but for you personally, just as a coach, what have been some of the things that you've had to go through teaching new players a new system?
Yeah, it's interesting. The last place I was at the Patriots, obviously it was a group of players that had been within the system for a while, some of them longer than me by far. And we got to a point then where, this seems like you have 15 rookies in the room. So that's a challenge. But it's one that we enjoy, you embrace, and you look at it in the sense of 4 years ago when I was learning this, where are the sticking points, and then how can I, move past that. So.
Carmen, I don't expect you to reveal any secrets, nor am I asking that.
No,
in your mind, do you know who your starting five is, or is there still some positions up for debate?
I ain't bet no money.
I would say that's still something that we're working on. I would say it's something we're working on. I would say nothing is set in stone, and truly, and I mean, I think the players would tell you that as well. I think competition is a great thing, or breeds all kinds, brings it all out.
I know you guys are new here, so maybe no preconceived notions necessarily, but has Lester Cotton been just a surprise for you guys?
You have that tabula rasa, a clean slate when I got here. So I'd heard some of the stories of, Lester had been here, had not been here, came back. When I did the one-on-one interviews, Lester told me his story. I thought it was very interesting, and I've seen what he's been trending towards. So in that case, Lester's been great to have. He's a leader. He's been through it. He's willing to speak up, speak to the rookies about his trials and tribulations thus far in his NFL. So he's enjoyed. I've enjoyed coaching him and seeing him just through this process thus far since we got here.
We talk about some of the question marks, but number 74 is one of the better ones. You've got a chance now to work with him during training camp off season. What are your impressions of Colton Miller?
I think Colton, first and foremost, is a consummate pro. He approaches it of playing left tackle in this league with a thinking man's mentality of, I'm going to work and do this. He sees problems. He asks great questions. Now that he's been in this system for, let's call it 6 months, he can see some of the pitfalls. He'll ask a good question, and it's one that the whole unit needs to hear. And he's a quiet leader. I mean, any young player can come in and just look and see how he approaches his game, working on his pass sets, working on his techniques, studying opponents. And it would be somebody that, I can look at, there's an example. I always tell the players, the model is the best teacher. Colton is one of those guys that they can look at and say, all right, how do I need to handle myself in this league? We're not all going to be 6'7" and uber talented necessarily like he is, but we can definitely emulate his work ethic and his approach.
Coach, you work with Jermaine Alum.
I don't mean to say it, but I'm just trying to keep my blinders on and worry about the five fat guys up front.
Talking about competition, how important are those joint practices next week for your unit going against the Patriots out here on the field?
Yeah, I think that'll be a good challenge. Obviously, it's a good club and with good players that play defense in a physical nature that I think will be good for us to work against. And I think, truth be told, it is the dog days of camp. I think by that point we'll probably be excited to go and play against some other guys, see some different techniques, see some different fronts, which will present some good challenges for us up front.
Going back to Lester, and I'm not necessarily asking about Lester, but in general, how often have you seen guys, as you've been a coach, kind of figure it out? Guys that just had the story and figured it out and went on to it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty unique, truly, in my experience in college and now the 4 years now in the NFL, to have that level of being close, the door's been shut, and a dogged approach, and also a tribute to the previous coaching staff here that gave him that opportunity. That had seen enough in Lester in his time here on understanding the nature of the business. Sometimes you cut good players. That's a reality where you let good players go. But for Lester to push through on that, I think that's pretty unique. It's not typical, in my opinion.
Carmen, you have another game coming up. When you're not game planning and when teams are doing things that maybe you didn't anticipate, how much do you take that into account when you're assessing the offensive line? And what are you looking for under those circumstances as you assess the offensive line?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the nature of the question.
As far as if you're not game planning, you're not necessarily planning for what they're going to do. What are you looking for individually from your offensive line?
I think number one, it always starts, good plays start with good fundamentals. So we're going to any game situation of playing with good fundamentals, run and pass. So bar none, that's non-negotiable. But I would say also it would be failure on my part to not prepare them at some least, especially for a defense that's as talented as Miami is. So when I have free time, obviously I'm going to look at it and I'm going to prepare my guys for it. How much time we get an opportunity to actually prepare, that's a different story. The training camp and the nature of the preseason. But I'm going to give them an opportunity to know what they're going to get out there. But it also poses then the defenses, they get a vote too. And they may, in any game, present a defensive structure, a blitz that we have never seen, and it's a good opportunity to understand that you just rely on your rules and communicate. And as long as 5 offensive linemen up front, the quarterback, the halfback, powers that be, whoever it may be, are on the same page, you should have good results. But it goes back to, first and foremost, good plays are going to start with good fundamentals. I'm always going to look for that, whether we prepared for 2 weeks or 2 days.
Going back and looking over the games and some of the practices, has there been some inconsistency in the shotgun snaps, or is that just kind of a...
Has there been inconsistency?
Inconsistency in the shotgun snaps have been off.
Snaps are, you can't win till you keep from losing. That's something the coach says, that Coach Belichick says, and I absolutely believe in. And one bad snap is one too many. So the fact that we've had a few I think it has settled down. And then I think one reared its head the last practice, and obviously Hronis Slider back a high heater on the game. That's not acceptable. Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
What was it like going through the end of last season, going into this season, just kind of the events that evolved?
It's a business. One year you're on one team, next year you're on the same team in the same division. So, I just try to take it one day at a time and, make the transition.
Turn doesn't always happen for everybody overnight. There's a lot of guys that takes a couple of years to get your feet wet and settle in. Do you feel like you're there now where making a strong push to make this team and this is where you belong?
I wanted to be here. I want to make this team, and every day, just doing my job, working hard and being dependable. The guy that, Josh want to put out there, he want a dependable guy, smart guy, you know what I'm saying? So just being consistent and dependable, will help me, make this team or any team.
Tyron, obviously, everyone knew you were a fast guy coming out of college. How do you feel like you've kind of progressed as an overall receiver since then?
Like being a fast guy, that's all people talk about. He's fast. But at the end of the day, I just want to, have the overall game for route running, route depth, blocking. I just want to showcase that I could do a lot of more things than just speed. Yeah.
Already talked about route running. That's one of the things that I saw in your game, especially when watching L22. 7, 8, 9 makers are easy. When you come around those shallow crossing digs and those kinds of routes, you're really not taking any false steps there. Where do you learn that, and how much has that helped mold your game as an all-around player on both the short, intermediate, and deep game?
It's just work, and it helps when you got when you play with guys like Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, you know what I'm saying, just taking a piece from their game, adding to yours, shoot it up. So at the end of the day, I just try to work on my deficiencies in the off season, stopping, route running, because I know I can run fast, you know what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, it's about getting open.
We've watched him practice and seen one particular time in particular, Devontae talking with you and helping you. How much has he been as a leader to the young wide receivers?
I mean, he's been a great leader. I mean, anything that he could give off, any nuggets that he could give to us, he tell us. You know what I'm saying? He been playing at a high level in this game, and respect the receiver. He's a really good guy, and every day he just try to give us nuggets every day to help our game.
You talked about wanting to be more consistent and dependable. That's something that Josh said about you as well, that you've become more consistent. What does that mean? Like on a daily basis, what are you trying to do, and what kind of steps have you taken in that regard?
Just doing the same thing. Like with Josh, you can make this play right here, but your bad play can't be down here. It got to be like close to that. So that's what we mean by consistent and being dependable. Like you can make a great play, but what do your worst play look like? Is it close to that, or it just fall off the map? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I just want to be as close as to perfect as I can.
What would you say is something that you have learned from Devontae? You were talking about taking nuggets from him. What's one of those you can share with us?
I mean, this route savvy, the way he gets open, he don't use speed at all. So he use like deception. So just head faking, more hip movement, and this stuff that a few people could do after him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Battling it out in a good receiver room, where do you see yourself going as far as special teams? I know that's going to be probably one of your key things of making this ball club. How often do you think about that as far as running your routes, but now special teams is going to play a big part of you making the squad?
Oh yeah, when you're not that 1, 2, 3 guy, you have to play special team. It's mandatory to make the team. So just as focused I am in the offense, I'm that dialed in special teams because that may be my route to the team. Yeah.
On Sunday, you stressed that you don't try to play the numbers game. That's number one thing you don't want to do, counting, who's going to make the team, where you are. Has that always been your mindset, or did you struggle with that maybe your first few years in the league, worrying about it a little more?
I mean, my first few years in the league, I definitely overthought it and worried about it a little more. But now, that's something I can't control. All I control is what I do every day and, just trying to prove that I belong.
What was your kind of reaction, and what was the kind of the mood when you learned Marcus was going to be out of here?
I mean, that's my guy. I wish DeMarcus the best. I was kind of sad, but, as a business, everybody understands. I'm pretty sure he'll be on somebody's team by tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? So it's a business, and at the end of the day, wish him the best, and, we just go keep moving.
Joint practices are next week. How nice will it be to see some new faces go up against some different guys?
Oh, yeah, see, that's what I'm looking forward to. The guys are looking forward to that, practicing against another team. It'll bring like some more fire out you, like you getting to go against somebody else. So it's gonna be fun.
You've been through a few years and a few teams now. Does this receivers room feel particularly deep?
It does. I've been a lot of teams, and this a very stacked receiver core. Grimy that's fighting for every bit of reps, snaps they could get. So it's pretty competitive.
I don't know if you saw it, but the Patriots were practicing against the Panthers this week. There were a lot of fights going on. It's all over the internet. Do you brace for that, the kind of reality that's may be part of it?
I mean, nah. It's grown men out there. It's hot. Everybody getting yelled at. There's gonna be a couple fights. That's football. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect nothing less. But we're gonna try to keep it clean. But You know, it's football. I can't make no promises.
Going back to that consistency that you were talking about, your high plays and your low plays, how close do you think you are to that middle even, that being that consistent wide receiver?
I think I'm pretty close. I'm working at it every day. Josh is on me about it. He wants me to be consistent and dependable. So every day I'm working at that, trying to be close to perfect, even when it's not. Because everything not gonna be perfect. It's football, but as close as perfect I could be, that's what I try to do.
You had some guys back today that hadn't been practicing in a while, defensive tackles, but Trayvon Mullen was out there. What'd you see from him, and how good is it to have him to go against out there in drills again?
I mean, it's good to have them guys back. More competition for me, and just to see them back is it's a great thing. You know, we trying to get this thing rolling. We trying to win games, and that's some of our key players. So to have them back is very good.
You talked about being on special teams and how that kind of helps you assert yourself in this competition. What other things about yourself do you think are positive skills that are really helping kind of set you apart?
Speed. I mean, that's set me apart since I've been in this league. Just being more faster than guys and be able to get to point A to point B quicker than some guys. So that's always been like the advantage I had. But I'm just trying to add more to my game so I can separate even more.
Being a part of a stacked wide receiver room, how much does that make you become even better?
I mean, that kind of been the story of my my whole career. You know, I've been at LSU, I've been at Oklahoma State, and all of them rosters were stacked with guys, so never was really shy away from competition. It's kind of, it make you better at the end of the day when you in a room, group of guys that could play. It make you better, it make you raise your game, so yeah.
All good? Cool.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
How y'all doing?
Did you, when we talked to you after the game about your performance, you were very, obviously happy with what you did. After you watched the film, were you even more happy?
A little bit kind of even keel because there was still some small things I had to clean up, and coaches made sure they kind of let me know about those things. So, I mean, it's always never as good as you think it is, but it's always never as bad as you think it is either. So that was kind of the emphasis today, get out, clean up those little small things so we can have a better game next week.
How have you improved as a return over the years? I know it's something that you did well in college, kind of translating to the NFL and making that something to kind of add to your skill set as you try to make this roster.
Just trying to take as much from all the special teams coaches as I can. Like, I feel like there's always room for improvement, like no matter how good you think you are or something. So like even last year with Rich, like he taught me a lot about the return game, and then this year with Coach Tom and those guys, they always got something positive to say and always got something to kind of help you and coach you up a little bit more too. So just trying to soak in and take everything in every day.
I know you move around a little bit on offense, but particularly working at slot, what have you learned from Hunter Renfro and then also Coach McDaniels, has a long history of working with the slot receivers?
I've learned a lot from both. Definitely Hunter's, like even coming in last year, like every time I take a rep, like I kind of nervously would ask him like, what you think about that, or what can I do to improve on that? And he will always have something to say, like positively, trying to bring me up a little bit more, because he's a very unselfish guy. Like he wants everybody to be great. Like there's not really a competition between anybody. It's just trying to help everybody get better, and he's helped me out a lot. And even with Coach McDaniels and Mick and EB as well, like they always have something to kind of throw in there. Like even if it's a good route, there's always a small little detail they'll kind of try to coach everybody up on, and it helps us out a lot.
You mentioned last year being on the practice squad. Usually you practice and the reward is playing. Last year you didn't get the reward of playing. So what became sort of the victories for you and the payout for you during the season?
I'm just trying to lock in as much as I can. Like, I mean, it was kind of tough, like not playing, but at the same time, it's still a blessing to be here. So kind of taking that mindset every week and approaching every day in practice like, all right, let's find a way to get better on this. So let's find a way to, like, no matter what it was, servicing the team, just do what I can to not only help them, but help myself out as much too. And I kind of took my victories from that as well. Like, you know what I mean? Just trying to develop myself and just taking the blessing to be an NFL player in general.
Yeah, and when it's football 24/7 like it was, how much learning did you end up doing about the game, about your position?
There's a lot of learning, especially, your first year in the league, whether if it's practice squad or on the roster, it's a lot of development you got to do. It's just becoming a pro in general. Like it takes a lot, and I mean I feel like last year kind of helped me develop into I'm still developing clearly, but getting closer to where I want to be as a professional.
What are some of the pros that you find within this new offensive scheme that cater towards your skill set?
There's a lot of option stuff, like a lot of you can't be wrong if you kind of read the defense the right way or read the leverage the right way. I feel like that helps out everybody, especially just any receiver. If you kind of get a two-way go on a route, or you can do this versus this coverage, do that versus that coverage, like you can't be wrong unless you completely bust a play. So I feel like that helps out everybody.
Tyron on Sunday said he predicted you were gonna have a big game. He said he told you that you were gonna score. You guys have a good rapport. You push each other. What's it been like working with him?
Yeah, I mean we try to bring each other up as much as we can. Like he kind of comes from a similar background, like being undrafted, being on a practice squad for a couple years, and like he helps me out a lot. And like we was literally in the team meeting the night before the game. He came up to me, he's like, "Man, I feel like you about to score." I'm like, "Nah, thank you. Like I need you to kind of bring that good energy to me, because like it's always an emotional roller coaster going through camp, competing, things like that. So just to have older guys kind of have faith in you and bring that to you, it feels good."
DJ, Josh has a unique style, a lot of teaching. He does a lot of that. You seem to have responded well. What do you think the feel is of the team where he teaches you the why, where he's so intricate in his instruction?
I think the biggest thing is just like to take it as coaching more than like him trying to be down on you when he actually like tries to fix something, like or actually tries to coach you and teach you something, and try to get better with everything he tells you. I feel like a lot of mostly the whole team, especially the offense, have kind of took that in the right way, and I mean I feel like we all kind of responded correctly to the things he teaches us. So.
What was your reaction yesterday when you found out DeMarcus was gone?
It kind of caught me by surprise, because I mean DeMarcus is a seasoned vet. Like he's played I think this is going into his 7th year. Played on a very good team, Super Bowl winner. Like he actually helped me out a lot too, as well as other guys. So to kind of see him go, it kind of shocked me, and I wish him the best. Like I hope he bounces back and plays somewhere else this year and gets it done wherever he's at.
How big was that moment for you on Sunday, being able to get in the end zone and have your family in the stands celebrating with you?
It was a great feeling, man. I mean, it's like I said, it's always a dream come true just to be here in general, just to have the opportunity to be in this building. And everybody wants to make plays and score touchdowns. So it was kind of surreal once I actually got in the end zone. And, I mean, you can kind of tell by my emotions, like in the end zone, I kind of lost control of myself, just screamed as loud as I could. That was the only thing I could kind of do at the moment. So it was a great feeling.
You have a teammate in Devontae Adams, who's arguably the best player at his position, at your position too. And so when you get a chance to watch him up close and personal like that, what stands out about somebody that is the best at what he does?
He's just very consistent. Like everything he does the right way. Like especially like getting in and out of his breaks. I feel like that's basically what separates him from everybody else. He's so fluid in his routes, fluid getting out of break and catching the ball, and just sitting there watching him, like without even having to ask him how you did this or how you do that. Like just watching him in general helps you out. And like I mean, that kind of started in the off season when we were here in the spring, just looking at how he approaches every day, and like he's the best for a reason. And we all try to kind of emulate that and take that as far as we can go.
Tyron was saying that he does it without using a lot of speed. It's more like sort of deception. Mm-hmm. Do you see that? And is that something that other wide receivers can implement into their game?
100%. Like that's pretty much his whole game, is like selling you one way and going the other way. Like, and if you can, like he's kind of like a basketball player playing football. Like he's great at what he does, and if you could kind of get that down, and you can always be open. He does a great job of that.
DJ, after the game, Coach McDaniels, he credited you for not just your speed, but also kind of the strength that you play with and your physique. How did you kind of develop that kind of blend of both having speed and power in your game?
I mean, it's just kind of the way I've always been built. I've always been kind of fast, and like I've always been strong as well, and just try to work on both of those, and in the off season try to work on my speed, stay in the best shape that I possibly can, and I mean just that's pretty much it basically. That's pretty much it. I can't really.
2 down, 2 to go. How big are these 2 preseason games against Miami and New England for you?
They're really big. Like you kind of got to take it day by day and just try to make the most of every opportunity you get. Like last week is over. Like yeah, it was great to get a win. It was great to have a big game, but this week is even more important. Got to have one more good day of practice, go to Miami and have another good game. So that's the plan so far.
How much are you looking forward to the joint practices coming up against the Patriots?
I say for right now we're just worried about Miami, and then once we get to that, then we'll worry about that. But I mean, I am looking forward to it. It's always good to go out and compete against people who aren't your teammates, and like I know some of those guys over there too, so it'd be good to see them and practice against them as well.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Tashawn, good to feel to get a sack against your former teammates, the Vikings, on Sunday.
Yeah, it felt good. Had 10 other guys on that play doing their job and helping me out getting to the quarterback. But, it felt good to play against them, see a lot of familiar faces, and just have fun out there.
How's it helped you having kind of I know it's a different defensive coordinator than you had in New England, but that familiarity with the coaching staff, how's it help you switching over to the Raiders?
I think it's just, seeing familiar faces just helps you kind of relax more, and you just feel better in that environment, a little bit more comfortable, and you don't feel as much pressure. Kind of get to, be a little bit more of yourself and just really vibe with your teammates and just get to, have an easier time learning and adjusting to all the new schemes and such.
Had a couple of the big guys in the middle and the defensive line back today that have been on pup. How good was it to see them kind of them on the field and then getting kind of back to full strength in that unit?
It was good. It's good. Having everyone and as many bodies as we can out there is always going to be a great thing. I think with those guys, they're just trying to, get back at whatever pace they may need to, and we're obviously supporting and doing whatever we can to, help them. But, I think it's just good having everyone out there, having, more communication and everyone talking and getting on the same page.
How do you feel the defense as a whole is kind of coming together right now, and are you where you want to be in terms of preparing for the season?
I think we're coming together good. I think every day we have, a little bit of stuff to work on, but I think every day we also get 1% better and, evaluate the things that, we're doing well, and, each day we take it from there. But as a whole, we haven't played a regular season game yet, so, it's hard to tell. But, I think, every day we're just getting a little bit better, and hopefully by that first week, we're ready to roll.
Tashawn, coming out of college, one of the things that people said you need to work on is maybe run fit integrity at the point of attack. When watching film of you, especially during preseason play, you have that box checked in my estimation, and also double down on that as a pass rusher. What have you learned in run fit integrity at the point of attack that kind of molded your game, into the player you are today?
I think everything just starts with that same process of trusting your eyes, feet, and your hands, and letting those things bring you to where you need to go. Have your eyes on your key, and it'll take you wherever you need to go. And just having that discipline, that patience on every single play. They're going to throw different formations and things at you, but as long as you're locked in on your key, no matter what, you should be good.
Tashawn, your resume obviously speaks for itself. You've maintained and stayed in the league, but how good is that defensive end room when you look at Chandler Jones, Max Crosby, you and others? How good is that room?
I think it's a great room. I think we have great guys to look up to, great guys with a lot of experience. And there's so many guys that are just staying under the wing, like myself and Max and Chan are just phenomenal leaders, great guys who bring great energy, Klee as well. I think our room just really brings a good energy to the whole defense, to the team. As long as we're running and having positive energy, I think that just brings a whole positive energy to the team.
What's something you've experienced with the chemistry of this defense and this defensive line that you may have not have had in another experience?
I think just off the field and, in between meetings and stuff, we're more together. Everyone isn't just, right to their phone and stuff like that. We're talking a lot about, whatever we may need to do, trying to get tips from Max and Chan, or questions with coaches that we may not understand, but just really trying to hammer down every little thing before we go on the practice field so that we can execute at a high level.
So I think I saw you at the Von Miller pass rush camp earlier this summer. What did you learn just from that experience, both on the field working and the time y'all spent?
I think a lot of it, I took notes on what every guy had to say, and a lot of it is just keeping your rush looking the same, you dictating the rush and making sure that you stay on your track or you stay on your steps, and just like I said about the run, having your eyes in the right place and pad level and just taking as much as you can with the ball and just little things, little hand movements, things that can really just change your rush completely.
Joint practices are next week. How excited are you to maybe go up against some new faces, and do you expect things to get a little chippy?
It's exciting, but we're still worried about Miami. But next week, it's going to be the same. Whether we're playing against us or other team, we got to stay at a high tempo, high speed. But other guys, we're just going to play ball. We can't, like I said, we can't worry about New England. But we got to play Miami first.
I've seen Rob Ryan bring out a lot of like soccer balls, tennis balls when you guys were working through drills. How does that help you with like agility, focus, things like that?
Sure, I think it's a lot of eye discipline. Going from our man to a ball, trying to bat a ball down. It's all just having your eyes in the right spot, so that you can play fast.
This is the first day that you guys didn't have the Guardian caps on. What were those like? Did you feel that there was a difference today not having them? And then what did you think on the whole thing in general?
I mean, it's a little bit of difference. It's a lot easier to buckle and unbuckle your chin strap, small stuff like that. But, we're still trying to keep our head out of it, play safe and all that. But, I think there's a little bit of difference, but it's not too much where it's changing the way you play.
You're focused in Miami, but it's the Patriots next week, a team that you were a part of for parts of 3 seasons.
Right.
Is it any special being able to do those joint practices and then the game on Friday?
I think even though I was there, I still have to treat it just like any other team. It's going to be good, like going against the guys that I played before, just because we can get better. Some of them know how I rush, I know how they set. But again, we got Miami, and when it comes to New England, sure we'll get after it and everything, but we got to play this week first.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sean.